let's just go live, Ellie. Let's get this party started. Okie dokie. So I'm not sure if we're live, Ellie, so I'm sure that's going to be a bit of a delay. So welcome. It's saying it's live streaming now, so usually there's a bit of a delay, so it's all good. Welcome, beautiful woman. How are you? It's lovely to see you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I am very excited, actually.
This is the first one that I've done with a panelist, so I'm sure as time goes on, it's going to get bigger and better. And I am so grateful that you at the 12th hour said, yes, I'll do that. And then said, oh, well, I'll find a topic. So I think the topic that you've chosen is a brilliant one for where we're at the moment. So just a little introduction. I am Lucia Peters and I have a business called Follow Your Style and Creating Abundance with Style. Ellie has a business and I'll let her tell you about that. Ellie, take it away and let us know about what your business is.
My business is The Motivation Mama, and I'll tell you a little bit later on how that came to be. But yeah, so I'm a women's transformation coach, and I'll tell you, if it's okay, Lucia, I'll go into that a little bit later. Is that okay?
That is fine, Ellie. I'm looking forward to that. So I'm quickly just going, because we were running late, we had a few technical difficulties, mainly that there's some new different terminology that we have on webinars that I wasn't aware of. And so I've learnt something new tonight, which is always a great thing. And my lights are just gone on the blink.
Perfect timing.
Technology. So without further ado, I'll take it away and I'll share my screen with you guys. So, and here we are. So this is just sorry guys, sorry. Very quickly, this is just a little snapshot of the webinar. And when we think of style, there's lots of things that go with style, and style is only the outer layer. There's all that health and wellness that goes underneath, and that's what I'm passionate about. When I began this style journey, I found that I was helping women with their personal mindsets and just their wellness, you know, their diet, how they were eating, how they felt about their bodies. So it encompassed everything, and it took me on this journey, but I'm not an expert in that field. So what I've done is I've created this, pardon me, the weather's changed, I've got a runny nose. I'm not an expert, and I do know people that are experts. I'm an expert of style, like, baby, I can style you up. But when it comes to wellness and your health, there are key people that can help us with that, and that's where this has come. And just before we get started with our beautiful guest speaker, this is why I began this webinar. It was to incorporate not just style, but your health, your wellness, and that state, you know, that we need to lay a really strong foundation with. So that was why. So I support women who lead. So ladies, beautiful ladies like Ellie, I assist and support with helping them to not spend too much money on their wardrobe and looking at their wardrobe in a different light, I guess. Sometimes we look at our wardrobe and go, okay, I'm going to throw it all out. I'm going to get rid of the lot, you know, and I'm not about that. I'm about keeping key pieces and just building and growing on that. So encouraging them to use all their clothes and creating combinations that they probably would not possibly put together But yeah, a stylist eye can always see a gem in a wardrobe. So that's my skill. And honoring that particular woman's authenticity. So, oh, sorry, Don. To allow them to dress with confidence and to feel attractive. So I've got messages coming through, Ellie. I've quietened everything down. And one more. Style is much more than fashion. It's a way of living and being authentic to you. We all have different bodies, but being authentic to you and honoring you is the most important thing about style to me. So I'm going to stop sharing. If there's any questions, we might do that a little bit later on, Ellie, after you've completed your presentation. But that is a little bit about Lucia and my business, creating abundance with style and follow your style. And now, Ellie, I let the reins over to you and just tell us your story and how you help women in women leaders also, I might add. So how you help them.
Thank you, Lucia, so much. And before I go on, can I let you know that, you know, you said this is your first time in doing a webinar like this. Can I say this is my first time being a guest on a webinar like this? So we're learning together.
It's so good. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. And that's the way to do it. Life is a learning experience, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I might add, thank you so much for having me today. It's been an absolute privilege. It's going to be, it is a privilege to be here. So I'm going to share my screen with you now.
Mm-hmm. And it works. Yay. Don't be so excited.
Now, just tell me, can you see that properly, Lucia?
Perfectly. Yeah.
Beautiful. Excellent. So yes, as I said, thank you so much, Lucia. It is incredible to have been invited on here. I'm very, very privileged. So what we are going to talk about tonight is mental wellness in times of stress. And look, I've put this the Essential Women's Guide, but if there are any men watching tonight, men can use these tools as well. So it's not strictly for women.
People's Guide.
People's Guide, that's right. But the thing is, I work mainly with women, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. So what we're going to speak about this, obviously we know there's a lot of things going on in the world at the moment. We don't need to rehash it. We all know what's happening. But the things that I am going to talk about, we can use them in times of extreme stress, but also on a daily basis as well. And this is what I talk with and teach my clients about as well, as how to use them on an everyday basis.
Beautiful.
So firstly, I would love to share with you, as Lucia has invited me to, a little bit about myself. So probably, well, it was about 3 years, just over 3 years ago now, in 2017, I went through quite a horrific workplace sexual harassment and bullying experience. And I'll call it an experience that kind of built up over about 2.5 years, to the point where I had reported my boss for sexual harassment. And that in itself actually led to me having a total mental breakdown, complete mental breakdown. I ended up suffering from PTSD and being diagnosed with acute anxiety, something that I'd never had before. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there was a point there where I said I had a complete mental breakdown. And what that looked like for me was I was at a point where I would just lie on the couch staring at the ceiling for hours on end, unable to physically or mentally move from the couch. Like getting up to go to the toilet was a chore for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was something, getting up, and let alone having something to eat, was just really, really, it was unfathomable, actually.
Yeah.
But there came a day for me, and I don't remember when it was, it just started happening when I was lying there, and I started thinking over all the, you know, what's happened in my life and my nearly 48 years. And I'm glad that I can say that out loud now without shame. I'm nearly 48, everybody.
Awesome. You look great for 48, Ellie, let me tell you.
beautiful. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so I started looking back over my life, and then I went way back to when I was 16 years old, and this was almost like a childhood memory that came back, and I realized that I had actually been emotionally and sexually abused by my first boyfriend. But I survived it. I got through it. And, you know, go a little bit further, I got married at the age of 20. And this picture here, I don't know if you can see my pointer. This picture here is while I was 23 years old, and I had 2 children under the age of 14 months. They were 13 and a half months apart. It's pretty much like having twins. And, you know, we had a mortgage that we couldn't afford. We, as you can see in that picture, we didn't have much furniture, and what we did have was really all secondhand and not very good. My husband was unemployed, so we started a home-based business, and there was just a lot going on. I was suffering postnatal depression, both my children, and unbeknownst to me, my husband at the time was also taking drugs. So you can imagine it was just an absolute boiling pot of, you know, it's about to explode basically. And it did. It did, unfortunately, in the form of abuse, and it was domestic violence. I didn't know it at the time. But, you know, my beautiful dad, God love him, pointed out to me what was happening when I was telling him what was going on. And he actually helped me when my children were 7 and 8 years old, get out of that relationship. But what happened then was I was still identifying myself as someone who had to have a man in my life to make me complete and to make me look like a success. And to make my children's life complete, I had to supply them with a 2-parent household. So I actually rushed into a second marriage, which was also abusive in its own way. He was quite neglectful, and he was financially abusive. So that marriage very quickly ended. I actually ended it, which is something, it's powerful for me to say that. You know, I haven't realized that until recently, but so I ended that marriage. And that was the time when I really started to kind of go on a journey to discover who Ali is. You know, who I am as a person, the essence of me, not as a wife, not as a mother, but as Ali. And I learned a lot. I absolutely learned a lot. I learned some techniques, some tools, some of which I'm going to share with you tonight. But then kind of come forward to 2017. This is me in 2017. This is me smiling, would you believe? Trying to smile.
It's a big you don't really want to smile, do you?
It's pretending. It's a big pretend smile. And that's where I was. But, you know, as I said, I was lying on the couch at that time, and that was the moment when I started thinking about all those other aspects. I went, you know what? I'm going to get through this, and this is the last time ever that I'm going to allow myself to get to this point. But more importantly, I realized that I had a story to share.
Beautiful.
So this is me now. You know, this was a year and a half ago at my son's wedding. So excited to say that. I have a married son. This was me. I don't know if you remember this, Lucia. This was just a couple of months ago. After we did a 3-day training session online.
That was huge.
It was huge. And this one here, this was me about a year ago when my daughter was taking photos of me. I honestly never thought I would get to a stage where I could laugh freely like that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And this one was here me literally, I think about a week and a half ago. So it wasn't very long ago. Sorry?
Down at your beautiful beach.
Yes, my beautiful beach in Adelaide. I love it. So what I do now is I have taken that, you know, what I call myself my motivation mama, is I have taken that mission. And, you know, how the motivation mama came to be is a lot of people were saying to me, Ali, you know, you are so motivational in just overcoming all this stuff, and you're just like everyone's mum. So that's how the motivation mama was born. I went, all right, I'm going to roll with that.
Yeah, absolutely. The universe has put it there.
It really did. And it rolls off the tongue. So my mission is absolutely to help all women who have been through not necessarily the same circumstances as me, but similar significant life traumas and changes. I want to help them recognize their true worth. Yeah. And to rediscover their confidence in themselves. And, you know, if you're like me and you've lost your voice, or you feel you've lost your voice, to rediscover it and to stand in that strength that we all have as women, even though we might not realize it.
Yeah.
So now I do work as a women's transformation coach, and I help beautiful women to empower themselves, and as you said, leaders, and rise above all life challenges. And just quickly, I also have a podcast called the Purple Warriors Podcast, which is all about sharing recovery techniques and tips for survivors of abuse. And I've actually I've left it in there, but I have put this little baby to bed. I recorded the final episode this week.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's happy sad. It's been a labour of love, but I just felt it was time. But that's okay, because all the episodes are actually still live, so you can go and listen to them, and you can find all about it there at the link below, which you can see. Beautiful. But do you know what? That's enough about me. Because I just want to dive into what we've got to talk to about tonight, and that is about mental wellness in times of stress.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to say is to question your inner critic. And I like to call it, rather, the itty bitty shitty committee.
Yeah, I love that.
The little voice, you know, that little voice in our head that just keeps telling us that we're not good enough, and that, you know, we're not going to get through this, and all those horrible, horrible things. I want you to question it, and I want you to start listening to that self-talk, that negative self-talk that you have for yourself, and take note of it. And then I want you to turn it around into affirmations. Beautiful. Now, I tell a lot, you know, I use the word affirmations a lot, and some people, particularly some family members, will roll their eyes and just go, ugh, affirmations don't work. Yeah. Can I tell you that they do? Of course they do. They absolutely do. Absolutely. It's almost become a mantra, hasn't it, over the last, particularly few months, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, but so my suggestion is when you hear that little voice, that little itty bitty shitty committee telling you something that you deep down know is not right about yourself, turn it into an affirmation. Mm-hmm. So let me use an example myself. I have had a tendency, when I make a mistake, to say to myself out loud, oh my God, you made a mistake, you're such an idiot. But I've caught myself doing that. I really, and, you know, particularly in the last year or so, I've really caught myself every time I've done that. And I've stopped and I've gone, no, you know what? And I've said this out loud to myself. I've said, Ali, you are a smart, intelligent woman who knows what she's doing, and you've got the goods, or something along those lines, whatever it is.
Yeah. It's that awareness, Ali, isn't it? It's really that awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. And speaking it out loud. Yeah. Is really, really powerful. Rather than saying it in your head, speaking it out loud.
Speak it, yell it out. Yeah, reinforce it. Yeah.
Yeah, yell it from the rooftops. Yeah. And let's take it a little bit further. So one thing I get all my clients to do, every single one of them, is I get them to go to the mirror first, preferably first thing in the morning, and tell themselves, I love you, your name. So I love you, Ali, and you obviously, Lucia, will say, I love you, Lucia.
Yeah, I love you, Ali. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And look yourself in the eye.
Yeah, it's so empowering. Yeah.
It is so empowering. And look yourself in the eye when you do it, because they say that eyes are the window to the soul. And it really is. When you do this over and over again, and look, I'm going to be honest, it's not easy. If you're in that place where you don't believe it at first, it's not an easy thing to do. But the more you practice it, the more you are going to start to believe it. And again, say it out loud. Make sure you say it out loud to yourself. And the easier it's going to get. When I started doing this, I actually was always a blubbering mess on the couch for the afternoon. You probably can't picture that now, but I was.
I can't. I see you at the beach. I only see you at the beach.
Right. You hold on to that. That's good. I like that. And the other thing is, the last thing I want to talk on this slide is, you know, if your little committee is giving you a really, really hard time and you're finding that all these things that we've spoken about above, if they're, you know, they're not quite working for you, here's something that I asked a client to do the other day. I asked her to write down 100 things that she loves about herself. And when I asked her to do that, she said, I'm sorry, what? 100 things? And I said, yes. You know, and she did. She came back the next week and she hadn't quite done the 100, but she's done a fair few. And they started off quite surface. You know, I like this and this, you know, I like my hair, I like my eyes, whatever it is you like about yourself. But they, as she went on, they actually were quite in depth.
Deeper. Yeah.
Much, much deeper. And the thing is, once you start doing this, it's like, you know, listening to your committee. Once you start writing these things, they just flow.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think she came back with about 70 or 80 things. It was incredible.
Ooh,
in the bag, she hadn't done the 100. I'm like, we're good. You've done well.
Wow, that's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So the next thing is mindfulness and meditation. Now, this is a practice that I use daily, absolutely daily.
Yeah.
And it does absolutely help us with everything that is on the screen there. And you're nodding, Lucia, and I reckon you can back me up on this.
Oh, I do it daily. I absolutely have to meditate.
Yep.
Otherwise I cannot get my busy head quiet.
Yep.
I have to meditate. I'm one of these people, I'm 100 miles an hour. So I have to get grounded and meditate. Otherwise it gives me a headache. I get such a massive headache.
Absolutely, absolutely. And can I tell you, just before I came on here tonight, I was a bit frantic myself because I've had quite a busy day. And I went on and I did a guided meditation, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes for confidence.
That's right. And can I just ask, Ali, do you use something like Spotify or one of those apps, you know, the calming apps or something like that for these mindfulness, or do you take yourself through them?
No, I'm excuse me. I think there are a couple of ways to meditate. Now, my daughter, who is a yoga teacher, she's very good at this type of stuff. She can just sit still and mindfully meditate in a quiet room.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I just find I'm easily distracted. You know, the cat will come in and something will happen and there'll be a noise in the house. So I do use guided meditation apps, and the ones I use are free.
Yeah.
Insight Timer.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant.
Write
and
that
if you're
down.
Sorry?
I said, write that down, guys.
Write it down. Insight Timer. It's free. There is a paid version, but you don't need it. It's a excuse me. And the other one is if you're into a little bit of woo-woo stuff, a little bit more out there, I love Solvana, and this is by Mind Valley. Yes. And it is, I just cannot go a day without doing one of these meditations. I absolutely love them.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I do use them, and even to the point where if I'm having a busy day, or I've just got, like on a Monday, for instance, Monday is my admin day.
Doing day.
And I've got a lot to do. Yeah. I will actually go to YouTube and I will search for you know, productive meditation music or something like that, and I'll just have it quietly playing in the background.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And as it says there, that helps me with my productivity. It helps me with all of those things on screen.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's very, very helpful, to say the least. Now, I know you're going to love this next screen.
Am I?
Well, because you know me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, and this screen is talking to me as much as it's talking to everybody else.
All of us, yeah. To all of us.
Don't become a couch potato.
Time that slips away, like your time just slips away, really, when you're doing that. It's okay to have one day, but if you have 2 days and then 3 days, it's a habit. It becomes such a habit. It's a hard one to break.
It does. And can I tell you, Lucia, actually, I'm quite ashamed to say this, but I'm not ashamed, because during the time when I was in my really bad mental state, I was a couch potato.
Well,
I was just lying there. Like I said, I was lying on the couch for hours. If I wasn't lying, I was sitting watching the TV. There, to the point where there is literally an arse print on my couch, alley-shaped, right now. There's a dent in my couch. I'm so ashamed to say that, but it's true. So
embrace that, Ali. I think as women, we have to embrace the fact that we do go through that because we have so many hats, and it's okay to be like that. Like, it's okay if you can get yourself out. If you can't, then you need someone to help you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
well said, Lucia, well said. So I suppose the meaning behind this is if you stay as active as you can. So that doesn't necessarily mean, you need to go to the gym or you need to go out for a 30-minute run. Get out, like you saw my picture of me on the beach. That's not me, clearly, but something I have actually come to enjoy is going out for a 15-20-minute walk during the day. And when we were in lockdown here in SA, I actually have an exercise bike, which I would get on I wouldn't do it for half an hour at a time. I would do it for maybe, 10 minutes at a time, 3 times a day.
Absolutely.
So I wasn't pushing myself, but I was at least doing something.
Yeah.
So there are lots of ways. And if you are, for instance, if you are living in Melbourne at the moment and you're still in lockdown, there and you can't get out, there are ways. I mean, we have all in these last few months become so inventive.
Yes.
I said my daughter was a yoga teacher. When all this started, she actually went online and did online yoga classes. It was brilliant.
So she actually does the yoga teaching online?
She doesn't now, but she did at one stage when it was all full on here in SA. So if it ever happened again, she'd go back and do it because it worked. It was awesome.
Yeah, good on her.
So don't be a couch potato. Talking to myself there as well. The other thing I would suggest is to create a daily structure for yourself. Now, one thing that I didn't do when I was at my lowest was I didn't have a daily structure for a long time. I was, because I was in such a depression, I was lying in bed until whenever I felt like getting up. When I got up, I actually didn't have anything to do. There was no purpose to my day. Right. So what I actually did was I started getting up early. I started to force myself to get up at the same time as my partner, Craig, which was 6:30. I think it was 5:30 at the time. I made it to 6. I think that was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
So I would get up and I would have a coffee with him and start his day with him. Yeah. And, and then I started to go, all right, well, if I'm going to do this, I've got to have something to do. So I would make myself a to-do list.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
And, and not just write it and then put it away in the drawer.
Hide it.
Somewhere visible. A little trick that I used to do so I didn't stay a couch potato was that I used to literally stick it on the TV.
Yeah. We've got the passwords on the TV for my husband.
There you go. That's awesome. So if you need to go a little bit further, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people who've done homeschooling lately who would understand this, that if your day is getting so busy, or if you're not sure that you can get everything done on that to-do list, make a schedule. Mm-hmm. It can be a broad schedule. It doesn't have to be set in concrete. It's a guideline to use it. As I said, use it as a guideline.
Yep.
But the thing is, if you're in that state where you're just getting back into things, be kind to yourself if you don't get everything done. Right. Don't let your committee take over, because it's okay. You'll always have tomorrow to be able to do it. Yeah. So do your best. And if you don't get it all done, that's okay. Move on. Go on to tomorrow. Start again.
Right. It'll be there waiting for you.
Sure will.
Yeah.
And here's another mantra that we hear about all the time. And I feel like I say this so much, but I'm not going to apologize for saying it so much because it's really, really, really important. Allow yourself to rest and relax and give yourself some self-care. So important. Yeah. Every single person needs to carve out time for themselves. Don't you agree, Lucia?
I agree. Absolutely. And I must admit, this is something that I have always been conscious of. I'm one of these people that push, achieve, push, achieve, push, achieve, and then I go meltdown, disappear. So for me, I've actually taken this on board, and when we spoke today, I was sitting on the couch having a rest, simply because I had worked all morning and I really just needed to have a distraction and just be some quiet time for Lucia. So
beautiful.
And it so works. Your head just gets so clear, you know, yeah, no more distractions. It's just all about you for 30, 40 minutes. Yeah,
100%. And the thing is, and I don't know about you, I mean, obviously I work on the computer most of the day, and because you're home, we're not in a workspace where you have that set half-hour lunch break or that set morning tea break. You can actually just find yourself working straight through, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Straight.
And before you know it, it's 12:30 and it's lunchtime, and you've been sitting at the computer since 7:30. It's like, what? That's not good self-care.
Yeah, not. No good for your back, no good for your any part of your circulation either. So yeah, it's great advice, Sally. Yeah.
So, and I do have a lot of people say to me that I can't find, there's not 30 minutes in the day because they're so busy with, you know, maybe, as I said, you've got kids at home, whatever it is. I'm here to tell you that every single person can carve out at least 30 minutes a day, whether it be at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day when the kids are in bed. You can do it. It is so important that you do it. Yeah. And the other thing I want to say towards this, and I think that a lot of us have taken this on board now because the situation has been going on for a few months, is, you know, if you are finding yourself getting depressed because of certain situations in the world, turn off your digital devices. Put some music on instead. Yeah. If you are finding yourself scrolling social media, turn it off. There are actually apps available where you can block your social media sites. You don't need to delete them off your phone, but you can block them for the day. Yeah. And I actually do this with a lot of apps. Obviously, with my job, I work a lot on social media, but if I'm not on particular social media, I'll block it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I don't need the distractions. So I can't think of what the apps are offhand. I think there's a block
you
site.
Just Google it, and there's lots of them. There are. Use Google. Mr. Google has got some. I actually have Spotify, and I use Spotify radio, and I use Spotify music meditation, and I also use I've got a playlist, so it's all my songs, so it's my activity songs when I want things. Yeah, so it's a great way of just getting everything going, you know, if you are sitting in the office. But I find I'll do that, and then when I've done that, I feel like getting outside for a bit, because I'm conscious that I'm in these four walls. So yeah, it's music is a great leveler, and it just breaks that constant concentration. So yeah,
it is. And I'm actually glad you said just then, you said get outside into the fresh air, and I should have maybe mentioned that on the couch potato slide, was that, you know, fresh air is very, very good for your mental health.
It's awesome. It's the vitamin D, I believe, isn't it, Ellie?
It is. Vitamin D is the sun. Yep. And just getting out and grounding yourself in nature as well is so good for the soul.
Yeah, you're right.
And here we go. Laughter. Laughter really is. It is truly the best medicine.
Yeah.
And it's more than that. I mean, I know that is more than just a saying. It's actually clinical.
Yeah, it is.
That laughter helps us. It releases the happy hormones, our endorphins. Mm-hmm. It enhances our oxygen intake. Yeah. And it improves your mood. And it does. You try it, you know. Yeah. And I've got down the bottom there, it can relieve pain. Now, I'm a testament to that. I have something called frozen shoulder.
Yep.
And when I laugh, the pain lessens.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But what I want to address here is that I know when people are often in that you know, not so good mental state, they're very mentally stressed, is that the last thing you feel like doing or even want to do is laugh. Mm. But there are ways, you know, and I know a lot of people have suggested to me, just start laughing until you properly laugh. That personally doesn't work for me.
No.
Might work for you.
I do have a friend that does that, but she laughs, like she gut laughs all the time. She is just beautiful. And she will come with this gut laugh, you know, like, whoa, and she's off and she's gone, you know, and she sends everyone around her off.
Love it.
She's beautiful. But yeah, I'm not one that can just start.
No, me neither.
I need something to trigger me.
Me neither. So here's some suggestions for you. Here's some suggestions. If you're around family, play a board game.
Yeah.
Get out, or maybe not Monopoly because that tends to start fights. But we had our kids around for a meal the other night, and we played Cards Against Humanity. Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness! That's a jawbreaker. Yeah, that's a jawbreaker.
Funniest game ever. And you know, we another time recently another family situation was, I don't know what it is with our family, but we love to, over meals, we love to quote our favourite TV shows, comedies.
Yeah.
You know, so what do? We do Friends, The Office, The Young Ones. I'd say that's showing my age, but I've already told you what my age is.
Love The Office. Love The Office.
I love it. But, you know, I mean, as much as I said, don't be a couch potato and don't watch TV all the time, jump on and watch a good YouTube cat video. Have a laugh, you know, jump on, watch a comedy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Make yourself laugh. You know, in you know, as much as I did say I was a couch potato, yes, I did watch a lot of comedies.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily laugh at them at the time, but I got there.
I remember as a child, Ellie, watching the cartoons. You know, you'd come home from school and you'd watch the cartoons and you'd get the biggest belly laugh and you'd forget about all the shit that happened at school. You know, you were just in this moment of, you know, pure laughter. And it's, you know, I'm sure those shows are still there somewhere.
The old Bugs Bunny show.
yeah, what's up, Doc? You know, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I just think, you know, there is a way of finding something to laugh at in life. Yeah,
there is. And you know, if you're finding you're still struggling, do you know what, jump on Zoom and laugh with a good mate. We actually did that earlier this morning, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Actually, we do it quite frequently.
It's the best way. You know, we're virtually laughing.
We are, yes. And the next one is practice gratitude. Now, yes, so practice gratitude. Now, the exercise that I do each and every day before my feet hit the ground is I like to think of at least 5 things that I'm grateful for that are going to happen in the day ahead. At least 5 things. Mm-hmm. And I've actually, like, it was really hard at the start, but now I love it. I wake up and the first thing I think is, it's going to be an awesome day. That's the first, I know, it's just automatic now.
I know.
But you know, can you imagine what the difference is if you didn't do this? So let's say if you're working from home and you've got to go into I'm going to go virtual. You've got to go into a virtual meeting. Yeah. And, you know, you really don't want to do it. You've got to do a presentation in this meeting. You really don't want to do it. Can you imagine the difference where if you just got up and just went, oh God, I've got to go to this meeting, or I'm just going to do the best I can, as opposed to if you'd said to yourself, I'm really grateful that I've got the opportunity to do this meeting today. Yeah. Can you imagine the difference and the difference that is going to show to other people in the meeting? Yeah. So, you know, when you are mentally stressed and working from home can be mentally stressful.
It can be, yeah, it certainly can be.
That's a great way. So, and I say, do it before your feet hit the ground in the morning, because you know, once you get out of bed, it's like, here I am, world.
Yep. You look in that mirror and you go, rightio, I'm ready.
That's it. Yeah. And the other, to just take it a little bit further, visualize your day ahead and even your future. So you know, you can do this anytime through the day, but this is something I choose to add to my morning routine, is I lie there and I picture my successful day ahead. And I always like to visualize my future, whether it be 6 months, a year, 5 years down the track. And the important part with this is to, when you're visualizing, don't visualize from the outside in. Visualize as if you are standing in your own body.
Yeah.
looking out. So one of my goals is to become a motivational speaker, motivation mama. So I don't picture myself in the audience looking up at myself. I picture myself on stage, and it doesn't have to be a big stage, but I picture myself on stage looking out at the audience.
The audience, beautiful.
That's just so much more powerful visualization. And I think this is the last slide.
And the what you're offering those people too, you know, like the expertise and the joy that you're bringing to people too, Ali. You know, that's
I hope so.
As well, you know, that you're helping. There's people there that are really resonating with what you're talking about. So yeah.
Thank you. I hope so.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
And the last thing I just want to say is just remember, you know, you don't have to do it alone. We might be, you know, as I said, people in Melbourne might still be in lockdown. Some of us are working from home alone, but you don't have to shut yourself off from everybody. I think if there's one thing we've learned in the last few months is that there is a whole new world of digital communication, you know, and here we are doing our first joint webinar. So, yeah, I would encourage you to stay in contact with people. And, you know, I know, again, we had this conversation. I celebrated something with you this morning. It was awesome.
Yeah, I know. And I'm so proud of you for doing that, because women have this intrinsic belief that they've achieved something, then they move to the next thing. And instead of celebrating, I'm always about celebrating those achievements. So, you know, small things just make such a difference to that itty bitty shitty committee, you know. It shuts it down, because you're an intelligent and beautiful woman that's got a story to tell. So yeah,
absolutely. And the last thing I want to say about this is when you do reach out to a friend, something that I've really noticed is that we need to be mindful of the context of the conversation. So what I mean by that is when, like, it's okay to go, you know, to go and share. A problem shared is a problem halved, you know, but don't kind of sit in that negativity. So it's all about, you know, it's taking that affirmation a little bit more and bringing someone else into it.
Yeah.
So if you're the person who's ringing or contacting for help, by all means share your problem and get advice from it. If you're the person who's being rung and giving advice, try and bring a positive connotation into the conversation and make sure that it ends that way. So, you know, because the whole reason of that person reaching out to you is that they want some positivity and love in their life. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, don't be a Debbie Downer.
Well said.
Yeah, don't be a Debbie Downer. Yeah, just offer your support and positivity, and you know, let them know that they're not alone. I think that's
exactly. And my whole motto is you know, just because I did this alone doesn't mean that you have to.
Yeah,
that's my whole motto.
Beautiful.
So that's the end of my presentation, and I just like to say that tonight I am offering 5 free 30-minute clarity sessions to anyone who books tonight, and there's the link, and I believe that your beautiful VA Reg might be putting that in the comments now.
Yeah, as I said, I can't see anything. That's the only thing with webinar is I've got my phone, but I don't want to be distracted, so I'm purely watching this slide. So yeah, if anyone wants to have a chat with Ali, by all means, Reg, copy this. And my VA is Regine, but we call her Reg for short. So she's an amazing, beautiful woman. She is so talented, and she's just been such a change to my business. She's awesome, amazing.
Can't wait.
So, Ellie, yeah, so Ellie also has a Facebook page called...
Yes, so the Facebook page there is, so it's called The Motivation Mama, but if you follow that link, you'll be able to go to it and get all the information on how you can contact me.
Beautiful.
And and I would love to help you. I'll put those photos up again. I'd love to help you go from that to that. instead of just
darling.
ringing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So that's it from me, my darling. I'll stop the share.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Thank you. All righty. So what I am going to do now is, oh my goodness, you know what happens with these slides? Can you see me, Ellie? Am I sharing or not?
No, you're not sharing yet.
Not sharing. Okay, so I'll go to the next slide. When I can, I have to end the show for a moment. Can you see me still? Yes, you can. Okay, so I've just got to get to another slide. But before I do that, yeah, I have a gift also today of three 30-minute chats for anyone that's on this call or that sees this afterwards. We've actually, we're at 6 o'clock, Ellie. I can just see on the clock over here now. So that's good because I'm aware of your time and people's time. But yeah, we'd love you to just book a little chat with Ellie or myself and get some clarity around where you're at, you know, particularly in this time. It's just nice to have that direction and, you know, stand in your presence, in your power. I have a couple of questions. Sure. The first one, Ellie, is creating a daily structure. Now you covered it beautifully. What do you think about journaling? Because I know that every day, this is my journal. And when I come into the office, I scribble, I do all sorts of things. And I find my journal is, I tell myself I love myself.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I use it. And I also have like little pics in there that remind me of my family, you know, great times with the girls in my life, you know, just, you know, I just keep it in my office. So it's just, I just think it's probably something else that the ladies could use and you know, manifest some of those thoughts that are generating up there, and get the positive ones down in paper, because they're really, like you say, you voice them and then you write them down and you're just reinforcing all that positive love for yourself.
I think for me, I'm not a journaler. I'm not naturally a journaler, but what I used to do when all the shit hit the fan, I would journal the negative stuff. But I would journal it to get it out. So I was getting it out of here. And I describe it as getting it out of here, flowing down your arm onto the paper, because you're just getting it out of your system.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's how I journal. I'm not a daily journaler, but a lot of people are. Yeah. You know, I think that it is probably something that I should start, but I haven't. But honestly, if
you should, Ellie, we won't have a should. It's probably something that you could start. You know, like your gratitude, you know, like you lie in bed and you express your gratitude for the day and what's ahead. I find also that I write it in my journal, what I'm grateful for. So it's another way of reinforcing. And I loved your taking a 30-minute break. I reckon everyone should have an hour break, really, to be honest. I think an hour is more beneficial for your body. I think 30 minutes, I know I can run down the stairs and come back in 30 minutes and I haven't even had a drink or a cup of tea or, you know, anything. So yeah, I just think, you know, an hour away from the computer, particularly because we're all pretty virtual now.
Exactly. And if you even think back, you know, if I think back to the day when I was in a day job, you know, we used to have 45-minute lunch breaks, and even that wasn't enough.
No,
you know, because you'd just be starting to wind down, and then you'd kind of have to wind up again.
Get yourself enthusiastic for the boss.
So, yeah, exactly. So an hour, I agree with you. But when I say 30 minutes, I think that is the very, very minimum that we need. And on top of, I'm talking about 30 minutes on top of a lunch break.
Yeah. You
know, yes, we need to have breaks during the day, but I'm talking 30 minutes of self-care.
quietness, yeah.
Just quiet, just being by yourself in your own presence. You know, I classify my 30 minutes of self-care as my meditation.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's what I mean when I say that everybody can find 30 minutes in a day.
Sure can, yeah, sure can. And I use it as a guideline. Now, I don't know what I've said there. I think it could be the schedule. I think it could be when you were talking about trying to get off that couch, and you just mentioned your to-do list and using it as a schedule. I thought that was brilliant, because I know for myself, you know, years ago, I never thought about a to-do list. It was never something that I did a to-do list and then scrumpled it up and threw it behind me. You know, I just never sort of, yeah, right, or stuck it on my forehead. But I never quite got the gist of a to-do list until I started to schedule. When I started to schedule, that's when I saw where I was wasting so much time in the day, you know, like really just not getting any productivity.
Absolutely. So, and the thing with the schedule is too, if you or a to-do list, the joy, if the joy that I used to get of putting a simple tick next to yes, I've done that, is so simple.
Yeah.
But the joy that I used to, I've achieved that today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like a childhood memory.
Yeah.
Yes, you got that one right. Yes, you got that one right. Now I'm just going to quickly share screen, and I'm going to get to the right. Can you all see that?
We can see all your slides there.
Oh, can you? So I just want this slide. So how do I do that? Let me see. No, that's not the one. Use the slide. This is just perfect. Here we go. So next week's, this was our guest speaker, beautiful Ellie. But next week we have the beautiful Eliza James, and Eliza is going to talk about why people don't listen and how to change that in 5 steps. So I'm really interested in this one. I think this is going to be an awesome topic, and tune in, and I look forward. I really want to thank Ellie for being here, Ellie. I'm very, very grateful that you've at the 12th hour said, yes, I'll do it. And it's an amazing thing that you do as a transformation coach. And I know that you've been helping women, because I've seen some of the testimonials that have come through. You've been amazing at what you do. So I'm very, very grateful that you could come on and join us. So we might have a repeat of this one down the track a bit. You never know.
Real shame. No, no, let's do it.
Okay, guys, so I'm going to stop the live stream. So bye for now, and see you next Thursday at 5